Seabirds soar through the cloudy sky above the churning ocean waves. A magnificent fleet of sailing ships stretches across the azure waters, their masts and rigging creating an intricate forest of wood and rope against the endless ocean horizon. A seagull perches on a weathered dock post as a sailing ship cuts through the distant waters, both calling out across the maritime expanse. Seagulls soar between the towering masts and billowing sails as the fleet cuts through the sparkling ocean waters. Greyhen grins widely and calls out, "Dear!" Voices shout, "Yeah!" as figures gather on the ship's deck. Greyhen spreads his arms wide and shouts, "Ha ha!" as he stands triumphantly on the cobblestone plaza. A blonde woman with rabbit ears smiles and says, "There you are," as she greets someone. Greyhen stands on the ship's deck with a fishing rod, asking, "How did it come to this? What am I even doing?" as a shark circles menacingly in the water below and someone off-panel questions if he really needs to catch fish. Greyhen's eyes widen with excitement as she exclaims, "This is exactly the adventure I was hoping for." Greyhen beams with excitement as a taller companion with silver hair grins beside him on deck. "So that's how it came out?" "Lemon," Greyhen says, while his companion responds, "Work harder." A figure with long silver hair and travel gear asks someone if they're satisfied with this outcome as they stand in what appears to be a town square. Greyhen cheerfully greets someone as his companion coolly responds with a simple acknowledgement. Greyhen's face lights up with pure delight as he lets out an excited exclamation. Greyhen murmurs something softly under his breath. A grand building with arched windows and ornate banners stands beneath the open sky. Greyhen calls out excitedly, "This is where all the adventures begin." A mystical cavern opens beneath the moonlit sky as ancient text reveals that adventurers from around the world gather here, where dreams become reality and glory awaits. 6 figures stand together in a moonlit cavern, their weapons and magical implements gleaming as they prepare for the journey ahead. A silver-haired figure emerges from crystalline waters, reaching upward with determined eyes. A lone foot dangles above the crystalline blue waters. An ornate plaque declares Age of Adventure. Another decorated sign proclaims Gate as the waters churn below. One day, this mysterious door appeared in a flower field. Terrible demons that couldn't be seen in Maple World have appeared. Countless heroes died in the gate, but the jewels they possessed contained all their powerful items. Those who possess dreams become fearless in the face of Kate's Gate. Greyhen extends his hand forward with a determined expression, speaking a single sharp word. Greyhen stares ahead with wide, uncertain eyes as dots fill his speech bubble, his voice trailing off into confused silence. Greyhen's eyes widen with realization as he speaks. There was no way for adventurers seeking treasure to survive. But Greyhen realizes the danger lies in what he can't see. Greyhen explains that when the gate turns off, time stops, and they need it. Greyhen hesitates, asking where they should go. A blade slices through the air with a sharp whistle. Greyhen declares that it's time for a glorious execution. A voice calls out from the shadows that the guys here are all rookies, so watch carefully and learn. A burly man laughs heartily and declares, "If you write it once, I'll be scared and give up," while Greyhen watches with a stoic expression. Greyhen reaches through the prison bars and speaks softly to his cellmate. Hey, don't cry like that. A brilliant red energy erupts through the foliage as someone shouts, "Then I'll have to show you a good example." Bodies lie scattered across the cracked ground as an ominous red glow illuminates the scene from above. A voice calls out through the forest. I need to know how many dogs are prowling around here before we move forward. A voice echoes from the shadows. There's no time to show off right now. Dark energy tears through the air as someone declares, "This gate is the sound we first heard." Steel slices through the air with deadly precision. Greyhen grins fiercely, teeth bared in wild determination. Greyhen stands triumphant with his companions as red energy swirls around them, and he shouts, "Let's go," with fierce determination. A glowing red portal swirls ominously in the forest clearing as multiple figures scatter in different directions. "Oh, this is way too strange," someone calls out in alarm. Greyhen leaps forward with fierce determination, his red cape billowing as energy crackles around him. Greyhen's eyes widen in shock as he stares at something unexpected. Giant, luminescent mushrooms tower around Greyhen as he calls out in amazement, "Oh my!" Greyhen is swept away by swirling energy and darkness. A massive serpentine creature emerges from the depths as a voice declares, "Oh, this is the first time I've seen such a mysterious flower. It seems like Gate wasn't thinking when he sent something like this here." The group stands together on a luminous platform deep within the cavern, surrounded by towering rock formations and ethereal blue light. A figure warns urgently as a massive tentacled creature emerges from the depths. "There's something here. Let's move," they say. Greyhen grips his weapon as he declares that wearing the Botong Gate is completely different from monster intrusion. A hooded figure strikes as Greyhen notes that now they are exploring the Tokchuk Gate. A character stares in bewilderment, muttering a confused question. A monstrous creature lunges forward, with glowing eyes and bared fangs. Greyhen says, "Huh?" as something strikes with tremendous force. Dark energy swirls through the air in violent streaks. Dark energy tears through the air in violent, twisting streaks. Greyhen cries out in shock as a massive creature emerges before him. "Oh no! Why is there a monster here?" Greyhen gasps in horror as he sees the piercing wound. "Sister, you've been stabbed." The dark creature lets out a deep, rumbling growl as it looms overhead. The group fights desperately against their attackers in the shadowy cavern. The massive creature coils through the rain as someone calls out, "No, surely this is all of it." Greyhen grips their spear tightly as monstrous creatures with glowing red eyes surge toward them through the darkness. A silver blade cuts through the storm as metallic coils twist through the darkness. Greyhen's hand grips the weapon's hilt as they cry out, "Captain!" Flames surge upward as someone shouts, "Fire arrow!" Greyhen unleashes a blazing strike, flames erupting from their weapon as they shout, "Burn!" The fiery attack connects with tremendous force, sending shockwaves through the air. Greyhen plummets through the torrential downpour, flames and lightning crackling around them as they fall toward the ground far below. Someone shouts that they found it as bodies clash in combat. Greyhen grins fiercely and calls out, "Don't underestimate me." Greyhen strikes with his blade as his opponent cries out, "We should go too," and stop it. Greyhen lies motionless, his face pale and eyes closed. Greyhen jolts awake with a gasp as monstrous creatures surround him, and he cries out, "Oh, no way! Don't come near me!" Greyhen cries out in terror as the monstrous figure looms over him with a menacing grin. The creature's claws slash through the air with deadly force. The massive creature's claws rake across Greyhen's body as he screams in agony, blood spraying from the devastating wounds. The creature's massive form crashes down with tremendous force. Rain begins to fall as Greyhen lies motionless on the cracked ground. Greyhen gasps as he struggles to breathe. He collapses forward, breathing heavily as he declares it's not important. A massive dark hand reaches down from above. Greyhen looks up with wide eyes and calls out, "God damn it, Raymond!" A voice shouts from above, demanding Greyhen get down from there immediately. Greyhen strikes with explosive force, orange flames erupting from his attack as he shouts his defiance. A monstrous face emerges with bulging eyes and sharp teeth as someone gasps, "But..." Greyhen grins fiercely as he declares, "We're all going to survive," while unleashing a devastating red energy attack against the looming monster. His crimson energy blast cuts through the air with tremendous force. The crimson energy blast strikes its target with devastating impact. Greyhen crashes to the ground with tremendous force, his face contorted in pain and shock. The attack sends him sliding across the surface, momentum carrying his battered form. Blood pools around the motionless form as silence settles over the battlefield. A massive shadow looms over Greyhen as he gasps from the ground, and he stammers, "Hey, that's my brother." Flames erupt in a brilliant display of power across the scene. Greyhen cries out desperately from below, "No! Damn it!" The creature's massive jaws snap open with a vicious roar, revealing rows of gleaming teeth. A tremendous force slams Greyhen down as he cries out in shock. The impact sends him tumbling through the air. Greyhen crashes to the ground with crushing force. A figure stomps down forcefully and shouts, "Stop right there." Blood splatters across the ground in a violent spray. A violent impact sends blood spraying across the scene. More blood splatters outward from the force of the blow. The scene transitions to a calmer moment. Greyhen's face contorts with rage, teeth bared in a furious snarl. Greyhen collapses to the ground. "No, it can't be," he gasps. A monstrous form with glowing eyes and razor teeth lunges forward, screaming, "Die, all of you!" The attack strikes with devastating force. Greyhen lies motionless on the ground as dark shadows loom overhead. A massive explosion tears through the scene with violent force. The blast sends debris flying in all directions as the destruction spreads. The aftermath reveals twisted metal and shattered debris scattered across the scene. Greyhen's mouth opens wide as he shouts in alarm, "My legs give out beneath me." Greyhen grins wildly through the blood and pain, letting out a fierce laugh. The dark-haired figure remains silent, facing away as footsteps approach through the rain. The dark-haired figure closes his eyes, a pained expression crossing his face. "It's okay. It's all okay," he says quietly as a bloodied hand reaches desperately from below. Greyhen gasps as he finds himself suspended in the darkness, breathing heavily. His eyes widen with a manic grin as he trembles against the rough surface. Greyhen reaches out desperately as he sinks. "Oh no, I really am sorry," he gasps. His bloodied hand stretches upward through the water as he whispers, "Even just one word, I should say." Greyhen's face contorts in anguish as he whispers, "Damn it," through gritted teeth. He lets out a sharp cry of pain and frustration. Greyhen's breathing grows heavy and labored as he struggles against whatever force is overtaking him. Greyhen roars with primal fury as red energy erupts around his clawed hands. He collapses forward, utterly drained by the violent outburst of power. Greyhen breathes heavily, struggling to recover from the intense surge of power. He forces himself upright, gripping his staff as he pushes through the exhaustion. The massive creature looms overhead, its enormous form casting shadows across the turbulent waters. Greyhen steadies himself against his staff. "Well, anyway," he mutters, catching his breath. A deep voice rumbles from above. "What strange thing is this?" Greyhen plummets through the air with tremendous force, his body spinning as he crashes downward amid explosive impact sounds. Blood streams down the face of a figure consumed by shadows and fury. Greyhen's blade cuts through flesh as crimson spatters across his determined face. A voice echoes through the darkness, wondering what madness has begun. The creature's massive jaws gape open as it roars, demanding to know how there could be something it cannot devour. Greyhen reaches out desperately, crying, "Here! Come here!" A tremendous red energy blast erupts outward with devastating force, sending shockwaves through the air. A monstrous creature with 3 glowing eyes and a grinning mouth of sharp teeth emerges from the shadows, its wild hair whipping in the chaos. The dark-haired character kneels on cracked ground, breathing heavily as they whisper, "I resolved it," twice to themselves.